there, welcome to my Tab Studio. My name is Jessie Ruby and I teach elementary. Nobody's in my studio right now, so I have a moment to take off my mask and talk about the studio. We've been in person now for almost 9 weeks, and I wanted to give you an idea of how I'm managing materials in this new normal. First thing, I created a cabinet where on each shelf is for a grade, and on each shelf I keep their notebooks or their journals. So each class has a tub for their notebooks. These notebooks are something that I use from year to year, and the kids, I'll open up a notebook here so you can take a look. We use them to sketch in. We use them to do writing in, pre-assessments. They also use them to do their explorations in. And let's see, here's a good clay sketching that we did. So these just follow my students from year to year. The other thing that I keep in here is a bucket of materials for each grade. I found these awesome buckets at Walmart. They were over by the bathroom shower items. These are actually like shower caddies, but I loved how big these were. And the idea with these was that my basic materials like drawing and some glue and some scissors would go in here. Now, in my school, I know every school is different this year, but in my school, a cohort is a whole grade. So for 4th grade, for example, we have 2 classrooms. So they are considered a pod or the cohort together. So they can share materials as long as I am spraying them down and disinfecting them. So I will show you how I'm presenting these to the kids and how I'm thinking about adding choices and moving up into a full choice tab classroom. So this is the art buffet in our studio. I decided that a buffet style tab room would be the best way to go this year. That way I can be in control of the materials a little more and making sure that everything's disinfected, and then the kids would only be limited to things that are out on the buffet that I put out. So sometimes I move a table over here too when I have a smaller class just to give us extra buffet room. But you can see I just set out that bucket here with their notebooks. So they're welcome to take things, put them back over here in the bucket. I would also recommend making nice, easy pictures on how you expect things to be organized. So here's just a picture of the bucket expectation. Very simple, just picture with some labels, and just keep this where near the bucket at all times and give the kids a gentle reminder on how that should be organized. All right, now I'm going to show you how I'm making choices on the art buffet, especially for 1st graders this week. All right, we're at the front of my classroom, and this is a place where I'm posting choices available to the students. So just to start off the year, I start off really simple, just with drawing. Remember, just to keep it simple to start, so that way you can learn how you want your studio to work this year. So I started with drawing, and this week, 4th and 5th grade are doing digital art. For their next rotation, I'm debating if they're gonna get fibers or painting next. 3rd grade, they told me that they would really love to do sewing next, so they're gonna get that in for their next rotation as an additional choice. I didn't have a 2nd grade this week, so that's empty for right now. But you can see how I'm slowly stacking in choices each week that they visit, so that we can slowly work up to that kind of full open studio feel again. Okay, I'm in my cabinet right next to my cabinet that has their journals and notebooks inside of it. This cabinet, I'm slowly working on this idea, but this is how I'm gonna put things out on the art buffet for them. So this is for 1st grade today. They've been talking about sculpture this week and learning about different sculpture things they can do. So today I'm testing out the choice day for them and see how they do with all these choices on their art buffet. So the first choice is paper sculpture. So I have paper sculpture things here. And of course in their big tub, they have scissors and they have glue. So here's their paper to do that. We did do the fun coffee filter marker art. So they have that as a choice out. They will also have clay. So I just put a tiny bit of clay in this bucket, just enough for this class. And here, I actually really love to give kids noodles with their clay because they're cheap and they just stamp it into their clay and it's no big deal if they break. They could just throw them away when they're done. And then everything I have is on cookie sheets. These are cookie sheets that I bought at the Dollar Tree. You could buy a case of them online. I just ordered another 2 cases because I plan on filling up this whole cabinet with each grade's different choices to put on the art buffet. So they have clay as a choice, I do not, let's see. The other thing that I made for them was little containers of Play-Doh with their names on them. I do not think I will put this out today because I have clay out and I don't want them mixing up the two of them, but these will be handy for them when we have other choices out. They each have their own, and I just spray down the containers when they're done with it for the day. So this is just a little peek in on how I'm setting up my studio. Please share your ideas with me too and what you have going on in your studio during this new normal, because it is so different than just setting up our centers, and we all have to be creative with all these different solutions that work in our studio and for our students. All right, let's talk about seating arrangements. So this year, my building made it clear that we had to do social distancing from our students. So I tried a few different things. The first thing I tried was tape on the floor to tell them to stop, and that didn't work. And then I tried some dots on my floor and told them to stop on the dot to talk to me, and that still didn't work. So what I decided to do instead was to just build a barrier up here on the front using my tables. The kids can come up and talk to me, but they just have to stop at the table. That way we're having good social distancing between each other. I also made some of these shower curtain things on these laundry racks or hangers. And I have one up here in my area, so if I do want more like one-on-one time with the kid, they sit on this side over here, and I sit over there on that side. I also just made one that is extra, and I move it around the room to block off this area up here. So I just use it to block off the whole area to the front so the kids cannot walk directly up to me. And I do see them have that moment of, how do I get up and talk to you? And it's really enough time for me to stop and say, just stop there, talk to me there. And then we can talk at a good distance. Also, for my seating arrangement this year, I did do a seating chart. On my tables, you can see I have labels on here for their seating charts. I wanted to do this for a few reasons. First reason is the kids that are sitting up here usually need the most help or assistance. Also, I put kids up here that are quiet, so that way I can talk directly to them too. And they're not stuck in the back where I can't really get to the back of the classroom. I do think that I will switch the seating around a lot. That way I get a chance to rotate with the kids and have some that are closer to my area, some that are far away. So that's a little bit about the seating arrangement. I'm going to show you how I'm prepping materials and also how I have the art buffet set up for first grade. All right, I'm set up for first grade. They're coming in soon. I wanted to show you how I have choices available to them today. We've been talking about sculpture this week. So we did some skill builders on paper sculpture. We talked about wire sculpture. We talked about clay. So what I did is I gave them a bunch of different choices today that have to do with sculpture. Of course, they could still draw or do collage, but just to kind of keep it within our theme this week. Plus, I'm still learning the setup, so just taking it slow. So up here, I have clay for them. And remember, my kids can all touch things as long as I disinfect them after. So I have a bucket of clay up here with just some chunks of clay for them. And then I set out my noodles here for them to stamp their clay. And I also have up here for them, I just do little scrap pieces of paper. When they get done with their clay, they write their name on the paper, and then they put it with their clay up on the cookie sheet. So I write their names on their clay later on. It's just easier, that way I can read it right away and know whose clay it is. I set up some little choices for sculpture. I have some foil, I have pipe cleaners, feathers, just little pieces of things for them to pick from. Smaller the better for young children. This is our bucket again. So here's their bucket of markers, pencils, glue. And then up here I have paper for paper sculpture or drawing or collage. And then we also did coffee filters this week too. So these are up here as a choice too. So here's just, they'll still have plenty of choices doing this, and we should see a good variety in their work. But that's just how the art buffet usually looks. I wanted to give you a peek of my area and some things that I found that have been pretty helpful. Up in my area here, I have a little disinfecting station. I have hand sanitizer, my disinfectant. Sometimes I have wipies that are up here too. The other thing is I try to keep a drawer just full of art supplies for myself, because it is very tempting to help a student and grab their pencil and show them how to do it. So have your own supplies ready to go. So you just see, I just have kind of my little area up here, very simple. I clean it off every day so things could be sprayed down and wiped down. I want to leave you with my advice for in-person learning this year. First and foremost, be gracious to yourself. My first few weeks, I was very frustrated. I really wanted to just get my Tab Studio up and going, but I just didn't quite know how. It took me a few weeks, but it does get better. And slowly, I just learned that there are going to be challenges, and I had to get creative. It was sort of like my first year of teaching or my first year of implementing Tab. But be kind to yourself about it and just know that it's going to be a process. The second thing I'm going to tell you is that you're going to be exhausted. Just know that it's tiring. It's really hard all day to prep things. Again, it feels like a first year. You're gonna be tired. So give yourself time to rest and to take care of yourself, and know that it will get better too. The other thing is to be honest. I think the very first few weeks I did have honest conversations with my students about how the studio was gonna be this year. They were asking me, when is clay gonna be open? When is sculpture gonna be open? And I was honest with them. We had a good conversation about, well, COVID is here this year. We have to think of different ways that we could set up our classroom that is in a safe way that protects all of us, and that's in a way that makes sense. And I also told them if they had any ideas that they could talk to me, and that we can figure it all out together. So good luck this year, and know that we're all in this together, and I hope that I gave you some ideas for your Tab classroom.